Hello and welcome to our weekly financial report brought to you by Pew Prime. And here is what you need to know for this week.
Basically, the week starts on Monday, the 9th of May, with an empty economic agenda. We have nothing to look for during today, the Monday, the 9th of May. Basically, the week starts on the economic agenda on Tuesday, tomorrow, which includes the German ZEW economic sentiment for the month of May, which is an important sentiment indicator not only for the German economy, however, it is considered as a very good sentiment indicator for the Eurozone economy as a whole. Going forward, we do have the Energy Information Administration short-term energy outlook from the US EIA. Basically, this might add some volatility on the US trading or the US crude oil trading, giving all of the volatility on the oil trading during this period for the geopolitical tensions going around. Going forward on Wednesday, basically, we do have the core CPI or the consumer price index from the US economy, which is the key inflation indicator. Basically, this is something that affects the Federal Reserve decision as well as most of the central banks, which is the inflation reading. We will be looking for this reading for the month of April. We are expecting ECB President Christine Lagarde to speak and to give some insights about the monetary policy expected, whether it's hawkish or dovish during the next meeting, as well as the weekly crude oil inventories also to be announced on Wednesday, which is basically a weekly figure. The week ends on the economic agenda on Thursday, the 12th of May, which is the most important day. We do have some very important data from the British economy, which includes the GDP or the gross domestic product for the quarter as well as the month during or expected to be announced by the beginning of the Euro session. We also have some data from the US economy, which is the weekly initial jobless claims, as well as the producer price index, which is the secondary measure of inflation. Basically, the week ends on Friday with no economic data to be announced at all. Let's have a quick look on the charts and the technical analysis and what are the expectations during this week. This week is expected to be a make or break on the US dollar index. Basically, we're still hovering around the areas of broken resistance, which is now to act as a support, which is 103.30 roughly. Basically, during this week, we need to confirm and we need to check the US dollar index behavior around those areas of resistance, because basically it is something, it's a yearly resistance that was basically the top which was formed during 2020 during the crisis or just by the beginning of the crisis of coronavirus. So we are basically trading just around those or just above those levels at the moment. We need to confirm whether the dollar index will be able to hold the trading above 103.30. On the weekly time frame, the momentum says yes. However, on the daily and the 4-hour time frame, we might have some volatility around those areas. So on the long term, we are basically still bullish on the US dollar index. However, on the short term and during this week, we might have some volatility and a sideways range on the US dollar index going through. On the euro versus the US dollar, basically, we are holding our trading below the key support level. This was a support 1.0670 roughly. We broke below. A break, a close, and a retest happened, and basically we are bearish on the euro. However, we will just need to wait for a break below the last low formed, which was around 1.0470, which is expected, highly expected to happen during this week. So by a creation of another lower low, we will basically add to our short positions on the euro versus the US dollar. The pound is basically very bearish to the downside. We're still having this very strong and decelerating downward trend. So basically on the pound versus the US dollar, any upward move on any lower time frame should basically be a very good opportunity to short the pound versus the US dollar. Having a look on the euro, we do have a very key resistance expected to be tested during this week, which is 0.86, and we will be waiting for a confirmation and a price action around those areas. Ending our video with the gold and the US crude oil. Basically, the gold broke below the key support $1,900 per ounce. A retest, a brilliant retest has taken place, and off we go. We're having this bearish price action here. However, a more conservative approach will be to wait for a break below the 1850 to add to our short positions. However, we are overall bearish on the gold trading, and at the end we're having a look on the US crude oil. It is still basically in a sideways range. The levels of $115 per barrel is highly expected to be tested during this week. However, we don't really support or believe that we will be having a break to the upside. However, the 115 levels should be a good opportunity to short the US crude oil on the short and the medium term. So that was all for this week's financial report. Thank you so much for watching, and please stay tuned for our future videos. Thank you, and please stay safe.